Wow, what's good, family? It's me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the awesome and amazing LDBC, Lions Den Boston community. Shout out to the greatest university in the world, Southern University, home of the mighty Jaguars. In this particular video, I'm going to address the need areas for Southern in this upcoming 2023 football season. Before we go any further in the video, like the video, share the video, comment in the comment section, subscribe to the channel. Even though Bashawn McCray was the starting quarterback for Southern University this past football season, Glendon Bubba McDaniel was by far the best quarterback that they had on the roster. He should have been the starting quarterback, and instead of replacing Bashawn McCray because he's entered the transfer portal, basically Southern does not need to replace Bashawn McCray. Southern needs to replace Glendon Bubba McDaniel. And it seems as if Southern has found that replacement in Dylan Marotta. Dylan Marotta went to Episcopal High School here in Baton Rouge. He was a pretty good quarterback. He ended up on UAB. He's coming to Southern from UAB because he entered the transfer portal. He posted his practice footage at UAB on Twitter. That's what garnered him the attention that he desperately needed once he entered the transfer portal. So he's coming to Southern. So it seems as if he's going to fill that void that Glendon Bubba McDaniel left at the quarterback position, even though Bashawn McCray was the starting quarterback. So that addresses the quarterback situation. In terms of running back, Gerard Sims, he was a junior this past season. I think he was hurt for like the last few games of the season. He got hurt in the Boombox Classic when Southern initially played Jackson State. At least that's the word that I got. But he's going to be returning. Also, Kendrick Grimes and Carl Ligon, they were both freshman running backs. They were more shifty, speed, third down type backs. That's a perfect fit for the spread offense that Coach Dooley runs. Whereas Gerard Sims, he's more of a in-between the tackles type running back. So Carl Ligon and Kendrick Grimes, they're going to be sophomores this coming year, whereas Gerard Sims is going to be a senior. So your running back situation is set. Now, the biggest need area besides quarterback seems as if they filled that particular void with Dylan Marotta because he's going to be replacing Glendon Bubba McDaniel. That's if Harold Blood or Noah Biden does not have like dramatic or drastic improvement in terms of their quarterback play. It seems as if Marotta is going to be the starter at that particular spot. But in terms of the offensive line, Southern has two all-SWAC performers that they're going to need to replace. The first performer they're going to need to replace is Dallas Black. He made first team all-SWAC. He was by far Southern's best offensive lineman. And it's going to be difficult to replace him on the offensive line. So it's going to be imperative that they get somebody that can replace him. And in addition to that, Jeremiah Stafford, he also was a senior. He made second team all-SWAC. So trying to replace Stafford and Black in terms of the offensive line, because that was one of Southern's strengths in terms of the reason why Bashawn McCray and Gerard Sims and Carl Ligon and Kendrick Grimes were able to run the ball so much because they had a solid offensive line, and those two pretty much were the anchor for Southern's offensive line. So it's going to be imperative that they replace those two particular players. All right, in addition to that, at the wide receiver position, August Petrie III, in my estimation, he was by far the best wide receiver this past season. He was a senior also. He didn't get as many touches because essentially Bashawn McCray, even though he's extremely talented as an athlete, he wasn't that great a passer. And essentially he was a glorified running back playing quarterback. But when they did need to make passes, to me, I think August Petrie III was their best wide receiver. It's going to be imperative that they replace him. Now, besides August Petrie III, I felt the other wide receivers that really kind of caught my eye was Cassius Allen. Cassius Allen, you know, he was a young receiver. He got a lot of experience this past year as a starter. When teams took away August Petrie III, Cassius Allen, he was another receiver. I mean, he's 6'4", he has size, he has decent hands, he has decent speed. So I'm gonna look for whoever the starting quarterback is this coming season to lean heavily on Cassius Allen if he's still on the roster. And in addition to that, Reginald King, he's a product of Scotlandville High, so he's right up the road from Southern. He was good in terms of like running a lot of crossing routes and slants. Small, shifty wide receiver. You get him the ball out in space. He's good. So those two receivers are really the receivers that are really looking to have big years. If Southern has more of a passing attack with Marota, Biden, Blood, or whichever one of those three is the starting quarterback. So that's the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, Southern's three best defensive linemen were all seniors. First, Jordan Lewis. He was the defensive end slash linebacker. He was like he was more of a linebacker than he was a pure defensive end. I mean, he had an excellent junior season. The fact that he essentially changed positions from more of a blitzing outside linebacker to more of a put your hand in the dirt defensive end. He struggled his senior year. Team schemed better for him, and offensive lineman that when he wasn't able to just run by the opposing offensive lineman and get a sack. Basically, he struggled. He definitely struggled in terms of run stopping. He even struggled in terms as a pass rusher. He excelled his junior year as a pass rusher, but his senior year as a pass rusher, he struggled. But even with that being said, he was their best pass rusher, so they're going to replace him. In addition to that, Jason Dumas, he was their best, one of their two best interior defensive linemen. When Coach Dooley came from Prairie View, he brought Jason Dumas with him. And of course, Jason Dumas, he garnered a lot of attention from the opposing offensive lines. Teams, they really schemed against him. He got a lot of double teams and things of that nature. But in terms of the defensive lineman that had the biggest impact was Taj Brown. Taj Brown had, he had a pretty solid season this year for Southern. I know individuals that knew him when he was at Donaldsonville High School. He was more known to be a linebacker, but I guess since he was a grad senior over the years, he was able to lift and grow into his body, and he was more of a nose guard slash defensive tackle. And Taj Brown had an excellent senior season in Southern. To me, in terms of those three names I just called, he had the biggest impact of those three defensive linemen between him, Jason Dumas, and Jordan Lewis. Taj Brown had the biggest impact, and when he was out of the game, it was real noticeable because Southern's run defense struggled when Taj Brown wasn't in the game. So it's going to be imperative that Southern can find a nose guard that's really going to demand a double team and really eat up space. Maybe a Southern nose guard from the past, defensive tackle from the past, like DeMarcus Miller, somebody along those lines. If they could get somebody like him that could replace Taj Brown, or somebody that's going to be comparable to Taj Brown, it's going to be imperative that Southern fills that particular void. And the last thing that they really going to need to replace is Corian Harris. He was Southern safety in Southern DB. I mean, he was the best DB on Southern's roster. He made first team all SWAC as a defensive back. I mean, he made a lot of plays on the back end of Southern's defense. He was versatile. He was rangy. He made a lot of plays. In certain instances, it seems as if defenses really try to avoid him. So he was a key and vital piece to Southern secondary. So I address the offense. I address the defense. In terms of the defense, those three defensive linemen, it's going to be imperative that they replace them. And in terms of the defensive back that had the biggest impact, Corian Harris, it's going to be imperative that they replace him. It seems as if they got a replacement for Glendon Bubba McDaniel. And they're going to need to also find a replacement for August Petrie III in terms of their wide receiver core. I think Cassius Allen might be the guy to really fill that void. And Reginald King is going to be another wide receiver that can lean heavily on. So hopefully, Southern has a much better 2023 season than they had 2022. I mean, even though they lost in the SWAC championship game to Jackson State, I mean, there's still a lot of improvement that they need. And the biggest thing that I noticed with Southern this past year, I know level of competition played into it, but they struggled on the road. So hopefully, and the crazy thing about it, they were undefeated at home, but they struggled on the road. So hopefully they can improve that this coming season. That's it for this video. Like the video, share the video, comment in the comment section, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so you can be alerted anytime I post any new videos. That's it for me, Coach 67 Sports TV. Shout out to the LDBC. I'll catch y'all on the rebar. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Peace and blessings.